Hello and welcome back to TNWKS, the Now We Know show, the show where we discuss a topic of interest and by the end we will have learnt something new and hopefully you will too. I'm Zach.
I'm Buzz.
And I'm June.
Yes, we've got June back in the studio.
Yes, yet again.
That can only mean one thing.
What's that?
Da 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 da. That means it's Indiana June's World of Adventures.
If you enjoy the Now We Know show podcast, support Zak Wylde Productions on Patreon or join our members on YouTube for early access, ad-free content and exclusive episodes.
Yes, and we're back with Indiana June herself in the studio for yet more of her adventures. And where are you taking us this week?
This week we are going to Peru and Bolivia.
So we're heading off down to South America.
Oh, South America.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to end up at, Machu Picchu and then in the Caribbean.
Okay, so if we go to South America, we've got to start our journey right at the very beginning, and that is, why did you decide to go to South America in the first place?
Well, I happened to be working in the evening and I saw on this man's desk a magazine with a picture of Machu Picchu.
And that's a mountain. Is that a mountain?
It's the long-lost city of the Incas.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And he was about to throw it away. And I said,
What, the whole city?
No, the whole magazine. And I said, can I have that? I would like to go there. You'll never afford to go there, he said. Ha, ha, ha.
You proved him wrong.
I proved him wrong because I'd already been to Tibet, so I didn't care. But I did go.
So how long ago was this?
Oh, several years ago.
Several years ago.
Yes. I did originally want to go on the Inca Trail.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband said there's a gang, I think it was called the Silver something or other. He said they might kidnap
Was
you.
it the silver palm or the silver hand or
I
something?
can't think.
Oh, crikey, that sounds quite
But,
exciting.
He said, no, you might get kidnapped. And then on second thoughts, he said, but you'll probably end up running the gang. But as it was camping on the way to Machu Picchu, I thought it was a little bit too rough. And then I actually found another company that actually had guides and took you all around. So I went there for 3 weeks. I was travelling around and about.
Right, so you did you obviously fly from the UK, but
Yes.
did you have to do any
No.
changeovers or
No, we went straight
direct?
there. No,
So where did you land in South America?
I think it was in La Paz.
La Paz.
Yes, which is the highest place, city in the world almost. It's very high. But
So is that probably on the par with places in Nepal then?
yeah,
Did you find that must have been a big change in altitude for you? You hear of people getting altitude sickness?
I
you?
didn't get it until the end. I didn't have altitude sickness when I was in Tibet. I was perfectly all right. I've never been so near the
Did
sun.
you go to Tibet before South America?
Yes.
Right, okay. Oh,
So I thought I might be all right.
okay.
But
Okay.
no, the cure is lots of coca leaves in a teapot with hot water on, and you drink lots of
Coca tea.
coca tea.
Okay.
That's interesting because I did experience something when I went to France to go skiing, and I did notice the altitude change.
Well, up
Yeah.
in the French Alps.
Yeah, because we kind of went by bus, like up these like steep cliffs and things, and I was like, "Ooh, that feels a bit weird."
Yeah.
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 How did it manifest itself?
I don't know. It just as a feeling, really.
I've had ear popping before.
It's not like a instant thing. It's just like
I've never experienced
that feels
altitude
You
bit
sickness.
don't want to.
strange.
It's extremely bad sickness and diarrhea.
Oh, diarrhea.
dear.
We don't wish to have
I didn't have that.
No, I don't want to have
So
it
when
again.
when you were feeling this strange feeling, it could have been worse.
It could have been worse, a lot worse.
Especially on the coach.
Yes.
Oh dear, that would have. We weren't allowed to use the toilets on the coach then.
Do you know, it's really funny that is because I've been on coaches myself and they tell you you're not not at all allowed to use the loos, especially not for a number 2.
No.
And I think, well, why on earth do you bother having them tour guide?
Yeah, like all the time. That's always the case.
I really reckon
Don't
it's
get
the
it.
drivers.
Yeah?
I reckon it's the drivers.
They don't want us to deal with
They
it.
don't want to
No.
deal with it, and so they say no, don't use the loos. And I think that's very unfair. You
Yeah.
coach drivers.
Honestly, preposterous.
I paid me money. I want to use it. If I need a number 2, I need a number 2.
Anyway, back to Peru.
Anyway, back to the. So you flew
Yeah,
into La Paz.
Well, we went and we got to Lima and stopped there for the evening. You know,
Okay.
they said don't go out because it's quite dangerous.
Which country is Lima in?
Lima is the capital of Peru.
Right, so
Uh-huh.
we're in Peru.
So we were in Peru, and then we got ourselves together the next day and had to get taken.
What was that? They said don't go out because it's dangerous.
Yes.
Is it a
lots-
particularly busy place, Peru?
Yeah, or Lima.
Well,
Yeah.
we didn't do much wandering round in Lima because
Okay.
they said don't go out unless there's several men with you because it's very dangerous.
Okay.
So we didn't. I just retired to my bed.
So would you say the choice of going to South America on this particular adventure that you were having, is that something that only a good stalwart adventurer like yourself should undertake?
Well, you've got to be very careful, I think.
Very vigilant.
Very vigilant because
Which again is most kind of like commendable, considering that you are a single lady
Well, yes.
travelling around the world.
was when we stopped overnight in Venezuela. That was in a big compound with a big high fence and men with machine guns because of all the people who were parked on the hills illegally, and they were all armed and they were expecting them to come and rise up.
Okay.
Do not go out. So
It
I
sounds like an
didn't.
action movie, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
right
was
there.
more like an action movie.
It was just the
Commando.
Commando June,
Yes,
you know, with
so
a sword of shotguns and a...
I did not go out roaming in Venezuela either. But anyhow,
So anyway, we're in
we've gone
we're in
from
Peru.
La Paz and we've gone to Cuzco, and
okay. And so it sounds at the moment that you're moving from place to place.
we are moving from place to place.
Is this to get to somewhere?
Well, we're there for 3 weeks, so we're
Okay.
going round looking at the ruins and whatever. And so I'm in Cuzco, which is still in Peru, and it was the base of the Inca Empire and administration from 11, well, for quite a few hundred years. And we went and saw the ruins of Sacsayhuamán, if I pronounce it right, and
Say that again.
Salamanca.
Where did you go?
Sacsayhuamán.
Sacsayhuamán.
Yeah, well, you'd have to look
Is
it
it-
up in a book.
I'm kind of.
Well, I can probably find and put some
We-
pictures
Yeah.
over the
we
YouTube video.
we Google these days.
Yes, we can do that.
So what was it like visiting these places?
I mean, were these
Yeah.
ruins?
Cuzco is a big town, but you did have ruins still there. And then we went out on the coaches and looked at various other ruins.
So
and
so
things.
these ruins, what you would, the average person would assume you'd find in South America, which are kind of like the pyramids and things.
Well, yes, I suppose because the Incas and people have done them.
Were they particularly overgrown at all?
No, not in Cuzco, and they were keeping the grass down. I think most of the other place, huge stones that you couldn't even get a penknife in between them. Great big stones and different things, and all around about.
What you mean in the construction?
Yes, where they'd built all the different.
How,
ones.
how large were these ruins?
Huge, some of them, and some of them were smaller. It all depended where you were going, but that was where the start of the Inca Trail was. But we didn't go
I've
there.
heard of people going on the Inca
Yeah.
Trail.
Well, I did meet some people who'd gone on it. They'd come from Welling Garden with their.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
And they actually did get robbed.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not so good.
No, but they were camping out. But anyway, I decided not to because I've got a bit achy legs and one thing and another, and I didn't
Well,
think
that sounds like the best
Yes,
plan,
that was the
considering
best
they
plan.
got robbed.
Okay, off the top of your head, how long is the Inca Trail? If you were going
It's
to
a long way.
If you were going to walk it.
Yes.
So maybe you should tell us more about this this robbery.
Oh, well,
That's
no,
all.
they just said as we were coming back on
Okay,
the
so
plane,
they were just
yeah.
robbed.
Any old hell. They decided one day we were going to have a trip into the jungle.
Ooh,
exciting.
okay. Proper
Because
adventurous style.
Into
Because-
predator
because-
territory.
it's all round. It's called the Younger Yunga. The valleys are up and they're semi-tropical and one thing and another, and then the lower ones grow different things. And
Was it
whatever.
particularly humid?
Well, we went up to the snow line to start,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And yes. So anyway, there were lorries coming back up there with great big sacks on, and they were full of coca leaves, and said we will go past some of the farms which have got big fences and big dogs to stop you going, because it's the most, well, it's a very big trade. It's illegal, but that's how they make most of the money in Peru.
Right.
And whatever.
Selling what?
Coca
Oh,
for cocaine.
Cocaine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so not cocoa
Yeah,
beans.
that's-
Not coca beans.
No.
It's attacking your innocence. Was
no.
thinking
In
they're
that-
making
Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate bars.
No.
no,
In the
Not quite.
high
Coffee.
not quite.
they grow sort of. They
They're
grow,
walking around with like
they
white
grow
noses.
fruit and tobacco.
Sugar, right?
And,
Sugar.
but in the younger ones, the coca leaves are illegal. But there you go. Anyway, on this trip to the jungle,
Yep.
we went down into Cusco, and the man who was leading us said, we have to buy some little things to sacrifice to the Mama Pacha, who is the goddess.
Okay.
Which
I'm just imagining you with like a chicken stuck under his arm.
no, but anyway, he got sort of little replica animals eventually. Anyway, the next day we go up and get dropped up on the snow line,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a big bonfire blazing there.
Right.
Okay.
And this other man who was evidently, and a very funny looking coach with a big bell and a rope hanging on it. It looked a bit battered. Anyhow, but before we start, ladies and gentlemen, we have to sacrifice to the Mama Pacha to ensure our safety.
Okay.
Okay.
But nobody wanted to throw the wine or whatever the alcohol was, so in the end I volunteered to do it to the north, south, east and west. And while he sacrificed his thing
So
and
you
chanted...
performed a sacrificial ritual.
I performed. I thought,
Wow, I never knew you'd do that.
well, having a look at the bus, and I wasn't sure where we
So
were.
you're casting the wine. What was he doing? Sort of,
He was throwing things on the bonfire to burn
Oh,
and
these-
chanting, yes.
Right. So the effigies of animals were going on the bonfire.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, we all...
I can just trying to imagine this. Like you've got this snow-capped mountain,
Yeah, we're up
and
in
this
the
old
snow.
bus, and then there's Indiana June casting out the wine,
Yeah.
and this man chanting and throwing
Yes.
animal effigies into
Wow,
a
it's
crazy
we
fire.
sort of wondered
This beats going to Ibiza on holiday.
Yeah.
we were going down into the jungle to a village, and we were going to have a meal and then come back again.
You hope.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what the sacrifice was for, honestly.
So
Yeah.
we all get on the bus, and then eventually we're going. The road, it started to rain, and the road was sort of tipping to that way, and then there was a
Is
big
it-
sort
all
of
right,
precipice
So
down
it's tipping
there.
away from the mountainside.
The precipice is you can see lots of old cars. And
I can see you having
wrecks.
a flashback right here because you're looking to the floor.
They're going down the hole there.
Loads of wrecked vehicles.
And then the driver said, "Now, do you see in front there is a man in the distance with a red flag and a green flag?" "Yes." "If he's holding up the red flag, we stay still. we have to ring the bell first so he knows we're coming.
Oh, hence the
Right.
bell on the bus.
That's
Okay.
why we have the bell. If he's holding up the green flag, we can keep going."
Right.
Don't want to get that wrong.
No, but it was a very big hole as you looked over that side of the bus.
This is where you say, if everybody looked out the left side of the bus, we'll tip over.
Yes, we
Everyone will know.
eventually did get down, and we did have a meal.
What, down the
in
precipice?
Yeah,
Down to the village.
down to
in
the village
jungle.
in the
Okay.
jungle.
Was it a particular tribe or something?
I don't really remember. They laid on a meal for us.
It's all the coca leaves.
After there was lots of coca tea. going. Yeah.
Were you enjoying your meal with giant multicoloured animals.
Psychedelic
Yes,
compounds.
it's very psychedelic. But we got there safely, but
Okay.
then it kept raining
So-
and it was getting worse going back again.
Well,
we didn't have to do another sacrificial thing, but sort of fingers crossed, but we did get home safely.
Well, I've heard about these meals in South America.
I didn't have a guinea pig,
Yeah, I
that's
was gonna
for
say,
birthdays.
Fried guinea pigs on
No,
a stick.
but they were for birthdays, so we didn't get one. But that was quite a hair-raising day out.
Did you meet any kind of interesting wildlife at
Or
all?
characters even.
Or characters?
Mostly we did go and stopped at one big place with huge buildings round, and they got a tame condor. Which is
Oh, wow.
They're really huge
Well,
birds.
aren't they the biggest
Yes.
wingspan bird on the
Yeah.
planet?
I think so.
Yes, he didn't let it fly in case it didn't come back again. He got a tether on it, but they are really huge. And also, there was like a sloping, almost like a slide. The river was coming down, or a stream, and the guide said, all gather round, and the water was just coming down, like is in this booth here.
Oh, on this little
It was sliding,
angled
and
cliff.
just slowly dripping down, and he ran his finger along the front of it, and the water stopped. And then he ran it back the other way, and it started again. I don't know how it.
What?
It's magic.
It was magical.
Inca
but-
magic.
Inca
but-
magic.
There's such huge blocks of stone that I don't know how they moved them all. And I say you couldn't get a blade of a knife or anything in there. But we stopped at various different places as the time went on through the weeks, and we saw different people. And of course, most of the ladies there wear bowler hats. And
Oh, right, okay.
they carry their babies in shawls tied round. Some people thought they got shopping until they got told off because they were nudging and the babies were hanging on the
I
back.
see.
But yeah, lots and lots and lots of petticoats. And
I've just had a quick Google.
Okay.
Just to backtrack on the Inca Trail. It's 43 kilometres or 26 miles long, and you have to hike for 4 days
Yeah.
at an elevation nearing 13,828 feet.
That's
Yes,
quite high.
that's why I decided to go on an organised trip.
Didn't want to get lost,
No, and I didn't want to get captured.
of course.
By the silver, whatever they were. But anyway, so we were all right. But,
I'm loving this gang
The
kind of
gang.
side story we've got going on
Yeah.
here.
Yes, well, I didn't get captured anyway. But then we got a new guide, and we were told.
What happened to the old one?
Well, as we moved on, we changed drivers and buses.
Okay.
We didn't have the bus with the bell anymore.
Okay.
So that was just one. But eventually we've
The
got.
Shining Path. Is
That's it.
The Shining
Yeah,
Path.
That was them. I don't know if they're
They were
still.
a Peruvian terrorist organisation.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to be captured by the Shining
No,
Path.
no. And your father said if I was captured, I'd probably end up running the gang because I'm quite determined.
Right. It's also known as Peru's largest drug ring.
Well, it probably
good
might
grief.
have been, but I didn't get captured.
Good grief. How did this? I did not come into the studio today thinking we would talk about this.
Yeah. But I consume lots of teapotfuls of
Careful,
coca.
careful.
But there is a firm in London that sells tea bags of coca. You know, it's as you buy Earl Grey ones and different things. Yeah, I did have 1 or 2 packets from a hotel when I was there.
Okay.
But,
So you escaped the jungle.
we escaped the jungle, saw some other different buildings, and I'll say when the man just ran his finger along it and stopped the water, and then it did it the other way again. I don't know why it did it, but we
that's
saw lots of things.
Science. Or physics.
Or a lot of tea.
Or it's magic. Oh, you've been drinking a lot of tea.
Well, then we've got to make our way to Lake Titicaca, and don't laugh. I know it's
funny
a fun name.
it's the highest navigable lake in the world.
What's it called?
Titicaca.
Sorry.
Say that 3 times fast.
Titicaca, Titicaca, Titicaca.
Okay, so we're heading off to Lake
Titicaca.
Titicaca, the highest navigable lake
In the world.
in the world.
Yes.
Okay.
So we eventually start off, and we're going. We've visited 1 or 2 different ancient monuments and whatever, and we got was getting dark. We got to our hotel. In the meantime, I got a poison finger.
Now, how did that happen?
I don't remember.
poison finger?
I don't know whether
What, you found a poison finger?
No,
or you poisoned your finger?
my finger was throbbing.
Right, so
and
you
it was
obviously spiked it on something.
I don't know, but it wasn't feeling very happy. But we got to the hotel, sent to our rooms, and then, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have no power. We can't cook you a meal tonight, and you can't have a light. We're looking for some candles.
Right, so no electricity.
No electricity.
Well, I
and
don't
whatever.
suppose they'd be on the national grid.
And meanwhile, at this point, your finger
My
is throbbing.
finger is really throbbing.
Which finger was it?
I think it was.
Sorry?
Sorry, don't do
Honestly.
that. Honestly.
That's your middle
Jew.
finger. Honestly.
Luckily, it was my left hand because I wouldn't have been able to operate on it if it was my right hand.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. You operated.
Well,
There's a story here.
There's a story coming along.
eventually, we all got issued with a candle.
Right, so this hotel, was it up in the mountains?
Well, it was sort of going through the jungles,
Right.
going towards
So,
Lake
I
Titicaca.
assume they must have either run out of diesel for the generators or...
Well, I don't know what
or
was
the
the
generator
problem,
had gone down.
but eventually we got a candle each,
Yay!
and then a bit later on,
Did they give you any matches? That's the question.
I think
they have to rub
they
some
must
sticks
have
together.
done, they must have done, or perhaps they were carrying a lighted candle to light your candle. But eventually, we can give you an omelette.
Right, they've been cooking omelettes over
I
candles.
don't know what they were cooking on.
Come on,
but
they could knock,
anyway,
knock a fire up, I'm sure.
my finger was really hurting, so I thought I looked at it and it didn't look very nice. So I opened my medical pack that I got a big needle out, stuck it through the flame of the candle,
Okay.
and ripped my finger open and squeezed all the nasties out.
Oh, what was coming out?
Nasty pus.
Ah.
It
No
was,
wonder it was
I am
throbbing.
not going to put a picture of that up.
no, I don't.
A
what
pussy
if-
finger.
But
A pussy middle finger.
Just stop.
And then-
Just stop.
and then I disinfected it and put some ointment on and plaster on it.
So you advise taking a medical kit with you?
Well, I always
Especially to
do.
Peru.
Even if I'm in England,
And maybe a spare if you get robbed.
yeah.
There you go.
So
You've
anyhow,
got an EDC with you.
So I said to the guide, "Is there anywhere I can buy plasters?" "Well, I will take you to the market in the morning."
Okay.
So we went off and we found this.
Was this just you and the guide?
Yeah,
Or was it with
nobody
everybody?
else wanted to buy anything, I don't think. And they were all sitting on the ground, and the plasters and everything were all spread out on the ground on a piece of cloth.
Oh,
And you-
individual plasters?
Individual plasters. I think I bought half a dozen, but that was enough.
I bet the plaster seller
Was-
yes,
Like
my,
a day.
my
Made my
ship's
day.
coming today.
So anyhow, I forget what we did manage some breakfast. I think it could have been sort of toast or
Omelette.
What's the currency there? Can you remember?
something. I can't remember.
Oh, we'll have to
off-
Google again
You have to
then,
Google it.
as we talk.
But anyhow, how?
Don't you know it's Inca gold coins, Zach? You know,
Well, it would have
That'd
been
be-
nice.
that'd be good.
So anyhow,
golden heads.
we have
from
to get
temples.
ready to move on to the next hotel, which is at Lake Titicaca. Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
So off we go through the jungle.
Sol.
Oh, it was so.
Sol, like the sun.
Like
god.
the sun.
Uval Sol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, off we went through the jungle, got to the hotel. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we have no water.
Oh,
Okay.
no, not again.
Yeah.
So this time,
This time
no
we,
power,
they
no
got
water.
and the guide said, "We haven't got time to go back to the one that's now got the power on. We have to." But they had got some bottles of bits and pieces. No, I think they managed to rectify it by the morning.
I thought that water tasted a bit funny.
So
No wonder I was seeing that the water kept stopping
It's
and
my
stopping.
special Peruvian water.
and we couldn't have
called
we
Smirnoff.
couldn't have coca tea either because there was no
Oh
water.
no! By this time you're hooked on the coca tea.
Oh
And
dear.
you're having withdrawal symptoms.
So they eventually managed to get some water, so we did get some drinks for our.
So how did you deal with that? I mean, I'm taking that you're in a very humid, sweaty kind of
Well, you
place. So,
couldn't flush the loo or have a bath or anything.
So what did you do?
you know, personal hygiene is just like. Did you have a packet of wipes with you? Or?
No, I don't think they'd invented them by then.
Like how were the toilets? Were they
Yeah,
like
yeah.
well furnished, or is it literally just sitting over a hole in the floor?
Oh no, it was better than some of the ones I have been in some countries. No,
Oh, okay, we
but
can get to that.
you just couldn't flush them because we didn't have
So
any water.
were they like the toilets that we're used to in the
Yes,
UK,
more or less.
rather
Okay.
than the hole in the ground?
Yes, rather than the hole in the ground.
And were they sort of with your hotel room, or did
Oh
you?
yes.
Yeah, well, these remote places, I don't know if you had to,
Yeah.
had to go out into the
No,
Into the
didn't have
bush.
to go behind
into the bush, where,
no.
where there's some snakes and spiders.
No, no, no.
Do you have to check
Ruffians.
check for
No,
spiders? and
no,
things?
they don't. I don't think they've got nasty spiders. If they have, I wouldn't have gone. I didn't want to go to Australia.
Okay.
They evidently hide under the toilet rims a lot in
What, the
Australia.
Australians?
No spiders.
Spiders, right, okay.
No, I don't know. But any old how.
Anyway, yes, we're in the water-free zone.
We managed to get some water by the next morning, so we could all wash our faces and flush the loo and have
Hooray.
something. And then we all got on different little motorboats because
Oh.
we were going to the floating islands.
So we're actually now on Lake
Lake,
Titicaca.
which is a very big lake, and
Yes, because I've heard about this. They're like reed
they
islands.
they're floating reed islands. They move about.
What?
Yeah, they literally
They're
build
long
them
boats
themselves.
like that, and
So they're artificial islands,
Artificial island made out of reeds,
And
and they
people live
build
on
a
them.
house on it.
and they can support it.
Yeah.
And they float on, and they just drift around on the lake.
What? They're like boat
No,
islands?
islands.
yeah,
Like
How big are these?
quite big because
Did you go?
the whole
you must
family.
have- Did you visit one? Did you?
Yeah, we visited and saw
you
them
could-
making the boats.
Did it feel
and things.
spongy walking?
It was a little bit moving, but I think they could be quite heavy, so I don't think they float.
Yeah, 'cause they're very thick,
hither and
aren't
then.
they?
Yes.
Yeah, but how would one go about even making that?
Well, I suppose you might find a bit of floating reeds and just keep an eye on it and add some more reeds to it if you're from somewhere else.
Like, what happens if it got like a hole in it or something? Would your entire
Well,
island home sink?
I don't know. They've
No,
lived
it's
that
not
way
like-
for hundreds
Because
of years.
it's floating. It's not like a boat, which you get a hole in and it fills up with water. It's floated on the surface. And
So it's buoyant enough to
it's
kind of
very
support.
buoyant. I think the reeds themselves, because reeds
Well,
are full
they
of
must
air.
be because they make the boats out
Yeah,
of
they
them.
make reed boats out of them. They're full of
sort
air.
like that, and then they come up with
Who was it that tested out the theory of using a reed
Thor
boat?
Heyerdahl.
Yeah, because he was trying to see how people got from the was it
He
the
was out in the Pacific somewhere. or
to
something.
get across the Pacific
Yeah,
using what the technology would have been at the time.
yeah.
And I think he tried it once with a reed-made boat, but it actually kind of fell apart on the first try because they hadn't got there's no plans on how they constructed them exactly.
Right.
And so then they what it was is the stern and the bow, which curl up, started to like uncurl.
Oh.
And then when they built the second one, I believe they put ropes to keep
Yeah.
it together.
Well, anyway, these
Yes.
don't have ropes or sails or anything. I think they must just row them when they go.
But the houses are on there,
Oh, the houses are on there.
and they cook on there as well.
Oh, yeah, they live there.
Wow. Okay.
So,
That's
anyway,
crazy.
and your sister gave me a stone from her friend who was a witch to drop into Lake Titicaca. I don't know what the point was, but I did drop it in the lake.
Okay, do you know what sort of stone that was? Was it a pebble?
It was some sort of pebble. I
And you
don't.
threw it into Lake because didn't they do lots of again? I don't know if sacrificial is the right idea, but I get the impression that it was full of treasure where they would throw treasure into the lake.
Lots of lakes and so, like big potholes in a lot of South America. They think they go down to the underworld and they used to
Hollow
drop
Earth.
lots of things. They used to sacrifice, put offerings down there or whatever. Anyway, we managed to get across Lake Titicaca, all in one piece, and met.
How long, sort of was that a day trip? Was it? Yeah,
no,
did it take all day?
we were carrying on. We weren't going back. We were
Right.
on our way
Oh
to
gosh!
Machu
So this
Picchu.
is literally you're in a boat and and what
And then
it
there
being?
was a coaches
paddle?
waiting for you.
Were these like single paddle?
No,
boats?
these were little speedboat things.
Oh right.
So
okay.
we split
Okay.
us
A
all
little
up.
bit more luxurious
Yeah.
than a reed boat.
But when we get to the other side, there was another guide standing over there, and lots of ladies with babies on their backs and bowler hats, all selling all sorts of things. So I bought 2 wall hangings there, and then we went on to a shack, which was all full of jewellery and all sorts of mementos and things. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Nazca lions.
Oh yeah, the Nazca lions.
Yes,
This is.
they think the
what's this?
aliens must have done them.
Well, yes, they kind of assume that because with the Nazca lines they are so precisely set out.
You can see them from height, but you can't see them
from
down.
the ground.
But they're different animals.
Birds,
Spiders, monkeys, all sorts.
and they're all sort of,
Like, how large are they?
Big.
big. You're talking,
You'd have
bigger
to
than a
look it up.
football
This
field.
this is somewhat ringing a bell now.
Yeah, it's just like almost a desert they're on.
Yeah.
And they do flights, but we weren't near enough to go to
who-
get on a plane.
Whoever inscribed these. So if you think of something a lot smaller in the UK, like for example, the Uffington White Horse.
Yeah.
Which is, that's
Yeah,
they
but-
guesstimate that at being about 5,000 years,
Yeah.
and you scratch the horse into the side of the hill.
Mm.
But even from there's no position that you can get in the Vale of the White Horse where you can actually see the White Horse clearly.
But some
But
of
from the
them
sky,
you can.
you can.
Yeah. Well-
And so these Nazca, I'm jumping here a little bit, June. These Nazca lines, are, as June said, they are all these very precise geometric patterns of animals that
Yeah.
stretch out over miles and miles.
And people think that they were landing spots for aliens.
Well, yeah.
But that is one of the
I-
theories. Nobody knows.
Maybe we'll have to bring this up in a further aliens
Yeah.
Well, that's-
episode.
It needs to be discussed because, firstly, they are animals.
Yeah.
And secondly, that yes, you can't view them. You would not know they were there. Nobody knew they were there until somebody
It was in an aeroplane.
had the option of actually flying over it and then suddenly seeing it for the first time.
Right.
So it has to be asked: how did they lay them out?
Well-
Why did they lay them out? And whom did they
Lay them out
think
for.
that would see them? But I've got to answer this bit about landing strips for aliens. I've seen different books and read different books which have shown, especially I think it's the hummingbird, because I say with the hummingbird you've got
Well,
this
something-
kind of
it's
geometric
like a-
pattern,
And
where
they've got
where
this point coming out
yeah,
his mouth like
and
that.
the wings are like trackways, like a kind of like bays that you would have planes in, that a plane would then trundle out of and then go down the runway to take off. And so it's been surmised that perhaps these are landing strips and that these
Crikey.
are bits of
Again,
land.
this is another sidetrack
Yeah,
that I
but
did not expect to go
anyway-
down in this
No,
episode.
but let me finish. But the thing is, it looks all interesting when you present that evidence, but actually, when, for example, with the hummingbird, you go and look at it, and the wings are only sort of like 30 feet long or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it looks on a photograph
Looks
like wow, that could be a landing strip with
Yeah.
bays, but actually, it's not very big at all.
Well,
right.
You know, so-
nevertheless,
matter of
Yeah,
perspective.
anyway, so you went to
we-
see the Inca
we-
lines,
no, we didn't because we couldn't.
not
it
the
was
Inca
too
lines,
far,
the Nazca lines.
too far to go to the Nazca lines,
right,
and you
okay.
had to book your plane. But they were selling, and so I got myself a necklace with nearly all of the Nazca things.
All the different designs.
Yes,
Oh, wow,
all
what was
in
it,
silver.
What was it made out of?
Silver.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Oh, it was silver.
Very posh.
So I've got, yes, it's got, although I don't like spiders, it's got the spider and it's got all sorts of different things and it's quite heavy. So then we carried on going to see different sites and one thing and another. And eventually we got put on a train to go to Machu Picchu.
Right.
But we went to go over the Altiplano, which is almost desert-like, where there's llamas and alpacas, and they've all got different colour wool woven into their hair when the bell was on their neck, so they can
So
find
did
them.
you see these from the train then?
Yes, and every time the train stopped, people are trying to sell you food and things through the through the windows
Oh,
and
wow.
all sorts of things. Anyway, eventually we did get to the stop ready for Machu Picchu.
I'm going to come in with an interesting fact on Machu Picchu now.
It was
do.
very, very hot.
Okay. Machu Picchu was actually discovered in 1911.
Yeah, it's not.
Otherwise, it was completely and utterly hidden away and forgotten about.
Wow.
So we've only known about it for
Yeah.
just over 100 years.
Wow.
But it was very, very hot. And normally there is a bus that takes you up because it's very high to get to the entrance. But the road was up, so we had to walk up there
From the station.
from the station to get up, yes.
How
One
many-
lady fainted.
How long did that take?
Too much as far as I know, because I felt like laying me on the altar stone and let me just die. But,
Oh, grief.
but I did manage to make it up
Yes,
there.
you did.
You did.
I made it up there, and it's absolutely amazing. and we walked round there. How they built it, I don't know, but I made it in the end, and it was really wonderful. So I'm glad I did get there. But so after that, we were going to Margarita Island, which is in the Caribbean, for 3 or 4 days, and we got loaded onto a little aeroplane. Off we took. Didn't get to Margarita Island till after midnight,
Okay.
but they wouldn't let me put my hand baggage in with me. It had to go in the hold.
Okay.
So we get to collecting all your baggage and what.
Mm-hmm.
No hand luggage. They said it's gone off to another island somewhere. You'll be lucky if you ever get it back again.
Oh, no.
With my presents and things.
Oh no, so it got your silver necklace in it as well.
Yes. We were supposed to be going to Angel Falls, but I was going down with altitude sickness, and I wasn't feeling. And I got a whole suite to myself, great big sitting room, a bed with 3 pillows across it, a bathroom, a shower room, and it was so cold in there.
Was it because of the air conditioning?
Well, yes, but I was not enough.
Well,
I was
mind
so
you,
cold, I was
probably
feeling a bit
suffering, yeah.
woozy. Turned it off. Oh my God, the heat! I put it back on
Two
again.
extremes.
2 extremes. So anyhow, so I did go outside and I did buy a sarong, and there was lots of pelicans.
Pelican!
Pelican!
Oh,
Random
yeah,
pelican
they were
reference there.
pelicans. They were on the beach, and it's frolicking about, trying to catch fish in the
Doing
sea.
what
and
pelicans do.
Yeah.
Frolicking pelicans.
Frolicking
Pelicans?
Pelicans?
Yeah.
There's that multitude of pelicans.
And about on the
Pelicans?
second day, I was down in the foyer.
You did
and
get
I could
accosted
s-
by a pelican.
I could see my bag on where the lady was sitting there, and she was about to give it to this man. And I shouted, "Don't touch that bag!" in a very commanding voice.
Was this the one that
The one that
you
disappeared.
lost? Oh wow! So it actually kind
Yeah,
of made its way back.
and this man was trying to collar it. Yeah,
Oh.
He didn't get it.
I can
So
imagine.
did it actually come on your plane, or did it
Yeah,
arrive
it was on the
separately?
plane, but they said they hadn't unloaded it, and they said it could have gone off to another island, and you'll never see it again.
Right. So you managed to
I was-
just dive in there.
I was lucky I was in the foyer.
Of course.
And this man was about to take it.
I half imagine
I-
I'm visualising
and I said,
Indiana June rushing across the foyer and rugby tackling this man to the
I
floor.
didn't
Going,
tell-
that's my bag.
I said, I can prove it's mine. I can tell you exactly what's in it, and my name and address
before
was in
the
it.
bullwhip comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. So that was Margarita Island, and that was my first taste of the Caribbean, which was much too hot, I think. But it was the end of an epic journey.
An epic journey
Yes.
through South America.
Yes.
I'm going to drag you back to Machu Picchu because I don't feel like we've spent as enough time that I wanted to spend there.
No.
Okay.
Can you kind of like describe it to us?
Well, it's all little villages or different places, and the altar stone was there, and then you go somewhere else and there's another temple, and also, I mean, God knows how many thousands of people have managed to get there to escape the Spanish.
Right, so it was a stronghold.
Oh yes,
So
that
where,
was,
where
that
they
was
hid
the,
from the
that
Spanish
was the
conquistadors.
last place they went, because nasty old Spanish people.
Spanish people. Okay, Spanish people out there, you're not nasty, but
No,
at the
anymore.
time,
At the time-
the conquistadors were
Yeah.
notorious.
Conquistadors.
They wanted
I thought
all the gold.
I thought it was conquistadors.
Conquistadors.
Okay, it's sort of in between what we're just saying. there.
One of the three.
I mean, they made
They was-
Montezuma fill up a whole room
Of gold.
full of gold and all sorts of different things, and then they killed him.
Yes. He got his revenge though.
He might have, yes.
That's because they all went down with the sickness, didn't they?
Well,
That's
it was
where you
trouble.
get the expression Montezuma's
Well,
revenge.
possibly, but I mean, these Spanish soldiers and whatever.
They weren't particularly nice.
No,
at that
they were
period in
spreading
history.
diseases
Yeah.
and one thing and another. But a lot of the people did escape.
Escaped
Yes,
and went into the mountains.
yes,
Mountains, Gandalf. Mountains.
Mountains.
yes. So, yeah.
And they head up in Machu Picchu,
Yeah, look,
which then became completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
And
That's
as I
really
say,
interesting that it was only found.
yeah,
In
not so long
1911.
ago it was. Yeah. Oh
um,
yes.
So was it like completely like desolate at all?
No. I think
Were there people living there?
No,
Not now,
no.
not
But it
anymore.
was completely, as far as I
Deserted.
remember, completely overgrown.
They don't know
Yeah,
what
so-
happened
so
to
like
them all, the people
So
in the end.
overgrown that you wouldn't even probably recognise it if you're flying over it in
No.
a plane. But
Right. Have they subsequently kind of...
yeah, it's all been
Well, it's
cleaned
been
up.
cleaned up, and now it's a
So-
national interest. And
You know.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just like probably at the time it must have been like discovering the lost city of Zinj or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Film reference.
oh,
Which
there's
one?
lots of little buildings.
The lost city of Zinj,
Yeah.
Congo.
Okay.
You remember
That's
that
in...
one?
That's
Tim
in
Curry.
yeah, I know the film, but isn't that in Africa?
That is in Africa, yeah.
In
Honestly,
actual
Zak.
fact, I was watching on the television the other
That
night
was where it was based.
Apparently.
that a lot of the Incas or whatever went off with a lot of treasure into America. They think they found different signs. They're trying to
Did
find
they
out.
hide it all in El Dorado?
Well, they don't know.
Did you find any gold?
No, I didn't. I just got the silver necklace.
Have you still got it?
Yes.
Oh, was that in your bag that you had to
Yes.
wrestle for man?
Good. That is so amazing that you
Yeah.
managed to get that back.
Yes. I mean, if I hadn't been in that foyer and seen my bag, which was quite distinctive, and I just shouted, "Don't give it!"
It's so funny sometimes, like coincidences. Like
They
if
were
you
letting
weren't
people
in a
bring in-
specific place at a certain time, you never would have
No,
found
well, they
something
just said,
or
"Oh,
met
you-"
someone or anything.
You won't ever see that again. And the annoying thing was they let a man get on and sit in the seat with a blooming great big picture, and my bag wasn't that big, and that has to go in the hold.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't been-
Sometimes the I don't know, small prints like
Yeah.
rules can be a bit
Bit bent.
Yeah.
bonkers.
So and I didn't get my money back for having the altitude sickness, so I didn't go to see the falls because you didn't give them 24 hours notice that you were going to be sick.
Right.
Oh, you had to give them 24 hours notice you're going to be sick.
Well,
I'm sorry,
to
I can't
cancel it.
I can't go on the trip because I'm going to be sick in 24 hours.
Yeah,
That sounds a bit nuts if you ask
bit
me.
nuts.
I felt
This was the Angel Falls.
Yes.
Which were.
a lot of people went
Yeah,
to see.
well,
They came back wringing wet because they didn't know
This
that
is
they were
on
going.
Margarita Island, is it?
Yes, well, otherwise you had to fly. I don't know if they flew off somewhere. I don't know because I wasn't in a fit state to actually talk to anybody very much. You know, when you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too much.
You keep mentioning
Coca leaf.
margarita. Isn't that like cheese or something?
Sounds like
The margarita is a drink,
Margarita.
but
it's
anyway,
a pizza.
Yeah.
yeah.
pizza,
well,
margarita.
that's
Margarita pizza.
cheese and tomato. But anyway,
It's
it's
like
ma-
Pizza Island.
I think.
No.
I think alcohol. What was that?
Is that tea getting to
No, I
you?
was going to say it's not altitude sickness. It's coming down. Going cold turkey from all the coke and tea.
I don't know.
Grief.
I
did
wasn't
not
the only
expect
one.
this.
I mean,
I did
there
not
were
expect this.
quite a lot of
Where was my
soldiers on
cup of tea?
holiday, and the
Where is
soldiers,
this?
the soldiers were just sort of flopping about as well. Nobody was,
Well,
some
which soldiers were these?
English soldiers who'd gone on a holiday or done something like that. Big, strong men that you wouldn't think were going to go flop. Ugh. I was all right till the end,
And
but
they were getting altitude sickness.
they
weren't
were getting altitude sickness as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Should have drunk more coca tea.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we can take away from this podcast. As we say, people learn things from the Now We Know show. If you go to South America, keep drinking the coca tea.
Well, that's
You're definitely guaranteed to come back after having an absolutely great
You can't-
holiday.
well, you can't remember a lot of it.
remember a lot of it.
the Now We Know show does not endorse consumption of tea in any kind,
Have coca tea.
especially when consumed in South America.
Yeah. But it was an adventure which I really enjoyed when
Well,
I
it
can
sounds
remember
like it.
some of
It
it.
does sound like a really kind of
Yeah, and
like-
how they.
That sounds like some very perilous moments.
yes, yeah, that kind of adventure. Like retrospectively,
See,
I'm
my
sure it was
finger,
amazing.
my finger
but-
is
yeah.
perfectly
You
all
have to
right now.
avoid the shining path.
Yes.
Terrorists.
And drug cartel.
Yeah, don't-
you had to operate on your own finger because you had
Don't go
an
out in
infection.
Venezuela because they're all
We found a
armed.
lost city.
Yeah.
You survived the night with a candle.
Yes.
Another night without no water.
Yes.
You got across Lake Titicaca.
Oh, yeah.
Lake Titicaca without sinking.
And I managed to climb up to
And you got
Manchu
to-
Picchu without
and you
fainting.
found your bag.
And I found my
And
bag.
You tackled a man in the foyer.
Yeah.
Got your bag back.
So, yes, it was quite adventurous.
Yes, it really sounds it. That's movie worthy.
There you
Yes.
go.
We should make a film.
Yeah,
Yes.
this needs to be turned into.
I'm not sure we have the budget to go to
No.
back to
No.
these places, but
Well,
No,
there you
well,
go.
we haven't gone to Tibet and things yet.
Yeah, well, Do you have a place you'd like to take us to on your next
Well,
visit?
it might be bits of China or going up to Tibet, because
Ooh, I
I've
like that.
always
Tibet.
wanted to go to Tibet since I read a book when I was 11.
In that case,
Ooh.
And
Indiana June, would you like to come back into the studio and tell us about your adventures in Tibet?
yes, why not?
Can I ask you one question about it? Have you been once or more?
Only once to Tibet.
Okay.
Been to China 4 times.
Okay, so one trip to Tibet.
Yes,
That's
it
what-
was added on to one of my trips to
Right,
China.
okay, we'll find out all about Tibet in the
Yes,
next
but I say-
episode.
I read books about Tibet when I was 11, and I wanted to, and I never thought I was ever going to get there.
Well, there you go.
Well, there we are.
But I have
The next
been.
episode
And
of Indiana June.
yak burgers are delicious.
Ooh.
Don't give the game away.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's that time of the episode
Yep.
that we should bring up quote of the week.
Quote of the week.
Has
Quote of the
anyone
week.
got a memorable quote, or it could be anything, a funny quote, an inspirational quote, anything? Because I don't.
well, I thought I would look into a quote that's kind of travel worthy.
Right, what is that?
So my quote of the week is, "We travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us."
Oh, very good.
There you go. That's
yeah.
my.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
my
I've
quote
come
of
up
the
with
week.
one.
Yes.
It's actually a quote from the podcast. Titicaca, titicaca, titicaca. There you go.
Try and say
Three
that
times
fast.
fast.
There you are.
I don't think that's a quote. I think
It's kind of a quote. It's a quote from the podcast.
it's a quote from the
Well,
podcast.
anyway, it's the highest
Lake
lake in the world, navigable.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
say that with
You can-
titicaca, titicaca, titicaca. I did it. There you go.
Did
you?
Did I? I think so. Anyway, on that,
Bye
we would
bye,
like to
everybody.
thank June for coming into the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yes.
Indiana June.
We look
and
forward to the next
we
episode.
look very much look forward to the next episode.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of topics or activities you'd like to listen to in future episodes. That's a big titicaca goodbye from Zach.
A big, that's a lovely cup of
Coca tea.
from Buzz.
And from June. Bye bye.
You can find the Now We Know Show podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Check out the Zak Wylde Productions social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or visit the Zak Wylde Productions website at www.zakwyldeproductions.com. Please get in contact, we'd love to find out how you're listening to us. So get in touch in the comments and don't forget to check out Zak Wylde Productions on Patreon to become an official ZWP patron today.